Hi everybody, have a wonderful day. In this video talk about Best iPad 2023-2024, Complete Guide to which iPad to buy. Hey buddy, 1 minute. InfoRx help to your tech life. Please subscribe our channel and give your support always. Okay, let's go to the topic. Wondering which iPad is best? We discuss iPad sizes, processor speeds, price tags and more in our iPad buying guide. In this video contain Apple iPad comparison chart. Every iPad Apple sells. Apple iPad 9th Gen, A13, 2021. Apple iPad 10th Gen, A14, 2022. Apple iPad mini 6th Gen, A15, 2021. Which iPad should you buy? There is a lot of choice and it can be confusing. There are 4 different varieties of iPad, listed below, and each is available with or without cellular, including 5G on certain models, which costs extra. That's before we get into storage capacity, colors, and second-hand alternatives. Our in-depth buying guide assesses the whole range of iPads sold by Apple and explores all the factors that should influence your iPad buying decisions, such as value for money, how much storage you need, and whether or not to buy a cellular version. We also reveal whether an updated version of each device is likely to be launched soon, answering the question of whether now is a good time to buy an iPad. If you're thinking of buying an iPad for college or university, you might also like to read our Best iPad for Students guide. You may also like to read our Best iPad for Kids guide. Every iPad Apple sells. Apple's iPad lineup is perhaps one of the most expansive product lineups presented by the company. Below we offer information about each model, but we also answer questions further down the article, such as which iPad is best value for money, which size is best, how much storage you need, and whether to get cellular. You can jump to these sections from the table of contents above. The iPad that is best for you will depend on what you need from an iPad. If you just want an iPad for reading books, watching movies and TV shows, email and web browsing, then you don't need all the bells and whistles. An iPad or iPad mini might be best here. If you are looking for an iPad that will do everything that a laptop can, then you might want to consider a model that is more powerful and supports additional components, including one of Apple's newer keyboards or the Apple Pencil. The iPad Air might suit you. And if you will be using your iPad for gaming, video editing, photo editing, or anything high-powered and graphic-intensive, then you will probably be looking at an iPad Pro. Below we will run through every iPad you can buy so you can find the one that's best for your needs. Apple iPad 2021, 9th Gen, best for button lovers. 64 GB, $329 per £369. 256 GB, $479 per £549. 64 GB, cellular, $459 per £519. 256 GB, cellular, $609 per £699. This is the cheapest iPad you can buy, although Apple actually increased the price of this iPad everywhere other than in the US when the 10th generation model launched. Despite its age, it launched in 2021, it's still powerful enough for most purposes. The 9th Gen iPad screen is 10.2 inch, which is smaller than the 10th Gen's 10.9 inch display, but still a good screen size for gaming and watching movies, while remaining slim, light and portable. The biggest reason to buy this iPad is the home button. This is the only iPad with a home button, which will be a key selling point for some users. Pros: thin and light, although not as thin and light as the Air. Low price. Its A13 chip will handle what's on the App Store right now, although the arrival of the M1 chip in the Air and the M2 in the Pro models could end up pushing the top tier of apps out of this iPad's reach. Cons: feels cheap due to the unlaminated screen. Can only use the first general Apple Pencil. Best for anyone who needs a big screen, not a huge screen. They'll want the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, but is on a budget, and can cope without the latest in processing and camera power. It's a good option for kids, students and anyone who wants a home button and has a lot of lightning cables that they don't want to go to waste. This is the only iPad not to have switched to a USB-C port. Is now a good time to buy? The 10th generation iPad doesn't cost a lot more, so we'd recommend that you choose that instead. If you want the home button though, you should probably snap one up before Apple discontinues this model. Apple iPad 2022, 10th Gen, best value for money. 64 GB, $449 per £499. 256 GB, $599 per £679. 64 GB, cellular, $599 per £679. 256 GB, cellular, $769 per £859. The 2022 iPad, 10th generation, isn't the cheapest iPad. That's the previous generation iPad that is still on sale, see above, but the new look iPad does offer a lot of features that its older sibling lacks. While it costs about $120 per £130 more, it does feel like it's worth the extra money, or at least it is worth the extra money if you like the fun colors. The old model only came in space gray and silver. Want a larger 10.9-inch screen, up from 10.2-inch, and prefer a USB-C connector to Lightning. It's also capable of 5G. If you were looking at the cellular model, you wouldn't want the 4G capable 9th gen. Pros: thinner and lighter than the predecessor, but not as thin and light as the Air. Same size display as the Air. A13 chip will be powerful enough for a good few years. No more home button, but there is Touch ID on the power button. Cons: still feels cheap due to the unlaminated screen. Will Apple ever update this? Can only use the first general Apple Pencil. Best for anyone who needs a big screen, not a huge screen. They'll want the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, but is on a budget, and can cope without the latest in processing. It's a good option for anyone who likes the look of the iPad Air, but not the price. Is now a good time to buy? There are rumors that Apple could update the standard iPad in early 2024. Apple iPad mini, 6th gen, 2021, best for those on the go and kids. 64 GB, $499 per £569. 256 GB, $649 per £749. 64 GB, cellular, $649 per £749. 256 GB, cellular, $799 per £929. This generation of iPad mini launched in September 2021. The iPad mini is available in 4 colors: silver, gold, space gray and purple. The iPad mini is Apple's smallest iPad with a 8.3-inch display. The biggest draw of the iPad mini is probably its diminutive stature. This is the smallest and lightest iPad, and as such is perfect for carrying around in a bag or handing to children when they need entertaining. Whichever version you go for, you'll get an A13 Bionic processor chip, a liquid Retina screen and 12 megapixels, 12MP rear, front cameras. It might be small, but it is actually more powerful than the standard iPad thanks to its A15 processor, which is a generation newer than the A14 in the 10th gen iPad. Pros: very portable and respectably powerful. Affordable, and cheapest version has good amount of storage, 64 GB. Supports 2nd general Apple Pencil. Cons: small screen, which may not be great for those who get eye strain or who like immersive films and games. Best for the portability conscious. Gamers on the go, tablet photographers, ebook enthusiasts, kids. Is now a good time to buy. Like the iPad, there is an expectation that the iPad mini will be updated in the spring of 2024. Keep up with the latest speculation with our iPad mini 7 guide. Apple iPad Air, 5th gen, 2022, best for power in an affordable package. The iPad Air has a 10.9-inch display, like the 2022 iPad, but it's smaller, thinner and lighter than that device. It's also got an M1 processor that is powerful and energy efficient. You may remember it from its widely praised performance in the Mac. The M1 pushes the iPad Air far ahead of the iPad mini and standard iPads with their A-series chips. The M1 also makes the Air an appealing alternative to the more expensive Pro models, with their faster M2 processors. Like all recent iPads, the Air features an all-screen design with no home button. As with the 10th general iPad and the iPad mini, biometric security is handled by a fingerprint sensor in the power button rather than Face ID, which is reserved for the Pros. It has superb cameras, the front-facing 12 megapixels camera and center stage, supports a wide range of Pro accessories, and now features 5G. Pros: beautiful design, superb processing and graphics power. Cheaper than the iPad Pro. Cons: screen doesn't feature promotion. Ideal for tablet gamers and anyone who wants to be able to run the most demanding apps now and in the future. Pro users, business, creative, design, who can't afford an iPad Pro. Is now a good time to buy? Absolutely. It came out in March 2022 and won't be updated until 2023. 11-inch iPad Pro, 4th Gen, 2022, best for power in a small package. The current generation of iPad Pro models went on sale in October 2022. While this update brought no external changes, a number of important upgrades were hidden within. The iPad Pro comes in 2 sizes and a variety of capacities all the way up to a massive 2 TB. The 2022 Pros feature M2 chips, as found in the 2022 MacBook Pro and MacBook Air. The iPad Pro is incredibly powerful, some might say more powerful than it has any right to be. The 11-inch iPad Pro is a very different proposition to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro though. While both iPad Pro models benefit from promotion screens, which means that the refresh rate can be really high so that users experience smooth scrolling and better gaming performance, only the 12.9-inch model has a superior liquid Retina XDR display, which can support 1000 nits max full screen, 1600 nits peak brightness. The front-facing camera is 12 megapixels and on the back you will find 2 cameras, a 12 megapixels wide and 10 megapixels ultra-wide for flexible photography and video options. Pros: slim and light, dual cameras, Face ID, devastatingly quick and power-efficient processor. Cons: very expensive. Its power could be overkill for many. Ideal for creative types who don't need the absolutely largest screen. It's great for watching films and TV shows, and offers quad-speaker audio to match, but there are other screens in the range that are a similar size and a lot more affordable. Is now a good time to buy? The current Pros came out in October 2022. There are likely to be a new iPad Pro with M3 chips coming in 2024. There are also rumors of a 14-inch iPad Pro. 12.9-inch iPad Pro, 6th Gen, 2022, the ultimate iPad power package for creative pros. The iPad Pro 12.9-inch, last updated in October 2022, offers the biggest screen ever on an Apple tablet, squeezed into a relatively small and very thin chassis. In other respects it's largely the same as the 11-inch Pro, above, super fast processor, the M2, with lots of RAM, excellent cameras, and a user experience that looks more than capable of replacing a laptop. The main exception is the XDR display, which means it can get really bright 1000 nits max full screen, 1600 nits peak, HDR content only. This feature is only available on the 12.9-inch model. The 11-inch's iPad Pro tops out at 600 nits max brightness. The XDR display is backlit by a huge array of mini LEDs, offering subtle localized dimming across the screen, plus a 1:1 contrast ratio. This is all thoroughly impressive. But on the downside, the 12.9-inch Pro is far less portable than the mid-size iPads. It remains admirably slim, but the sheer screen area makes it a handful, and ruinously expensive, particularly at those upper storage tiers. Pros: huge screen, 12.9-inch, extremely fast processor with bags of RAM, excellent dual cameras, 4 speakers, Face ID, XDR display. Cons: least portable iPad currently available, although it is very slim, very expensive. Processor speed will be overkill for many prospective buyers, hugely inflated prices outside of the US. Ideal for creative types most of all, but anyone who needs a big screen will be interested. Gamers and those who enjoy consuming media on the go will like the combination of a sumptuous screen and a quad-speaker audio system. Is now a good time to buy? The current Pros came out in October 2022. We expect new iPad Pro with M3 chips in 2024. There are even rumors of a 14-inch iPad Pro. iPad Buying Guide: what to look for when buying an iPad. As you can see from the above, there are a lot of iPads sold by Apple, and that doesn't even include the many previous generation iPads that are still on sale at various resellers and at Apple's refurbished store. When confronted by so much choice, what should you consider when deciding which iPad to buy? For many the choice will be based on price and value for money. Some may be influenced by the screen size, others by the weight. The ability to get more than 256 GB storage may be important, as may the inclusion of Face ID, or Touch ID. Finally, the decision of whether to get a cellular version, which invites the assessment of the minefield of network contracts, will no doubt be a factor for some. Which iPad is the best value for money? One person's value for money is another person's extravagance. You might be looking for the cheapest iPad. That would be the 9th generation iPad, launched in September 2021, but, despite the introduction of the 10th generation iPad, still being sold by Apple. This is the cheapest iPad Apple sells right now, but it isn't the cheapest it has been sold for. If you are based outside of the US, the 2021 iPad has a price hike. But even if you are based in the US where the price stayed at $329, that's not the price you have to pay. We've seen it discounted to $299 during Amazon's Prime Day, for example. If you are happy to buy an older iPad model, then there are plenty of discounts available while they are still in stock. There are also some great savings to be had on refurbished models. We recommend you check the following deals roundups, where you can see the best prices right now on various iPads. Other buyers simply want the best iPad they can get for their money, but that all depends on budget. Back in the day, we would have suggested that if you wanted a powerful iPad, you should steer clear of the cheapest model in the range. But that's not true anymore. Even the 10.2-inch iPad that launched in September 2021 offers a reasonably impressive package. The device's low price, combined with some great tech, makes this budget iPad an attractive option. But that iPad has effectively been superseded, despite the fact that it is still on sale. The 10th generation iPad, introduced in October 2022, has a bigger 10.9-inch screen, a 12-megapixels rear-facing camera rather than 8MP, an A14 rather than A13 processor, and 5G. Plenty of reasons to justify spending a little more to get the newer model. How much more you will need to pay depends on where you live. In the US, the 10th gen iPad costs from $449, $120 more than the 9th gen model. For UK readers, the 2022 iPad costs $499, which is £130 more than the 9th gen model. That $120 per £130 may be worth spending if you want a bigger screen, better camera and newer processor. If you have more to spend, what can you get for your money? The iPad mini more than justifies its slightly higher price tag of $499 per £569 with its faster A15 processor, True Tone Flash, and a fully laminated, better quality display, among other things. But its biggest draw will probably be its size, for those who want a small iPad. The iPad mini is not much bigger than a hard-backed book, making it the perfect size to carry around in a bag and a great size for kids. Next up is the iPad Air, which starts at $599 per £669, so another £150 per £170 on top of the 10th generation iPad, or $100 per £100 more than the Mini. It might be worth every extra penny if you want an M1 processor in your iPad, which means you will have access to features that the less powerful iPads lack. You might be thinking that now the iPad has a 10.9-inch display there is less of a difference between the iPad and iPad Air, but the iPad Air display is still superior, fully laminated and with an anti-reflective coating, like the iPad mini. The iPad Pro, updated in October 2022, is the ultimate in this category. Starting at $799, the Pro has a lot to offer, with advanced cameras and an M1 chip for starters. But we think these features are probably more than the average person needs. Those are the prices that Apple sells its iPads for, but you don't have to pay that much. Take a look at our regularly updated iPad deals page for the lowest prices and best discounts on iPads new and old. iPad screen size. Which size iPad to choose? Size is a question of taste rather than simply going for the biggest iPad you can get your hands on. Bigger isn't necessarily better if what you need is small and light. The most obvious aspect of this decision comes down to screen size. You've got 5 options: 8.3-inch iPad mini, 10.2-inch iPad 9th gen, 10.9-inch iPad Air and iPad 10th gen, 11-inch iPad Pro, 12.9-inch iPad Pro. All screens are measured diagonally from corner to corner, or from the place where the corners would be. A larger screen size doesn't necessarily mean that the iPad itself is a lot larger. In the case of the 9th generation iPad, the 10.2-inch display fits in a 250.6 by 174.1 by 7.5 mm unit, but the iPad 10th generation dimensions are 248.6 by 179.5 by 7 mm, despite the 10.9-inch screen. But how big a screen do you really need? You can get an idea of the comparative sizes in the picture above. But you can also think of the tablets in terms of print publications. The mini is roughly the height and width of a paperback book, the mid-size iPads are closer to a hardback, albeit much slimmer, and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is like a magazine. The larger screen is obviously better for immersive entertainment. Whether watching films or playing games, it's a more enjoyable, richer experience. But really this is a question of priorities. Are you more set on getting maximum screen space, or are you willing to compromise on that front in order to get a lower price tag and improved portability? iPad Pro 12.9-inch 2022, 280.6 by 214.9 by 6.4 mm, 682 grams, 684 G, Wi-Fi, cellular. iPad Pro 11-inch 2022, 247.6 by 178.5 by 5.9 mm, 466 grams, 468 G. iPad Air 10.9-inch 2022, 247.6 by 178.5 by 6.1 mm, 461 grams, 462 G. iPad 10.9-inch 2022, 248.6 by 179.5 by 7 mm, 477 grams, 481 G. iPad 10.2-inch 2021, 250.6 by 174.1 by 7.5 mm, 487 grams, 498 G. iPad mini 8.3-inch 2021, 195.4 mm by 134.8 mm by 6.3 mm, 300.5 grams, 308.2 grams. Want the lightest iPad? As you'd expect, the iPad mini is a lot lighter than the other iPads, and even more so since the September 2021 update. There's a big gap between that device and even the mid-size iPads. As well as its markedly lower weight, the mini also has a smaller body, which slips easily into a rucksack or jacket pocket. If you plan to mainly use your iPad out and about, on holiday or commuting, or perhaps you're buying an iPad for a child, the mini is your best bet. The iPad Air and 11-inch Pro are pleasingly portable, but they still can't match the mini for portability. The iPad has a similar length and width to the Air, but is thicker and heavier. The Pros are slimmer still. The 12.9-inch Pro is considerably less portable than its smaller cousins, but we think Apple has done well to keep it down to 682 grams. It remains a slender, relatively lightweight and portable alternative to a laptop. Thanks for watching this video. For more information, touch with us. Comment your favorite iPhone below.